I'm just making sure, bro.
Please don't do that again.
I'm just making sure.
I bet that was a nightmare.
We're recording.
It wasn't for me. It was for him.
Oh, it was a nightmare. I was ready to just throw in the towel.
Did it work to line it up at the end?
None of it worked. It was awful.
Even the audio, you couldn't line it up?
I give it a 1.5 on a 10 scale of how much I enjoyed editing last week's podcast. It was a nightmare. It's funny, though, because when we first started doing this, we didn't have all this fancy...
Yeah, this is a great setup.
As I'm sure you can relate to.
Yeah. When you start with what you have. You know?
And we had cameras that didn't match.
Okay.
And we didn't know, the funniest thing is we didn't know that Canons only have a 30-minute shoot time.
Yeah, and then they click off.
And they turn off.
Yeah.
So we're sitting there, we're right in the middle of the conversation, it's starting to vibe, and I look up, I'm like, hold up.
These aren't on.
These aren't even working right now.
Yeah.
They're not even recording.
We're like 40 minutes in, like we finally got our stride.
And it cut off. So I had to get up, turn it on. And so then in the edit, I had to go and find the point that I had to click around.
Yeah.
So again, we still didn't have money to get cameras after that. So I thought, okay, how are we gonna do this?
With
no
time code, no
time code, no
you got like
clipboard.
somebody with like a stopwatch.
Exactly what we did. So that's why my son now, he's behind the switcher because we brought him and his homies in. And we're like, all right, guys, when it hits 25 minutes, we want all you guys standing behind these cameras and roll start. So that way, no matter what happens, there was always a camera that was on.
Some overlap so you can...
It worked, but it was a nightmare. Because again, like Lenward said, there was no timestamp.
Yep.
There was no clipboard.
Yep.
Yeah, nothing.
And I'm going to be honest here, I'm not a fucking editor, bro. I didn't go to school for none of this shit. So I really didn't know what the fuck I was doing.
Right.
We figured it out fast, though.
Yeah, experience actually is a good teacher for a lot of this stuff. Like you can go to school for it, but like it really just sort of, unfortunately, making mistakes is how you learn a lot of this stuff, right?
Yeah, so. I agree. Yeah. So I think before we get too far, at the beginning of the podcast, we intro this shit quick, right?
Do it.
You are now tuned in to Respect Connect. I'm your host, Johnny James. I'm here with a few of my nearest and dearest. Jay Trav in the building. What's poppin', Jay?
Man, I'm posted, bro. I'm chilling.
Posted
Sunday.
and toasted or not toasted yet?
Not toasted yet.
Not yet. I see the pre-roll right there. It's coming. Lenward's in the building.
Yes,
What's
yes.
cracking, Lenwards?
Oh, you keep switching.
I know you want to say it. Every time I say what's cracking, you say the crackers is cracking.
Crackers are cracking, but it's crackerjack.
It's crackerjack season.
Crackerjack
We hunting
season.
wabbits.
That's right.
As you can see, we're joined with a special guest up in here today. Matt Page is in the building. What's popping, my brother?
How you guys doing?
We're doing good.
Thanks for having me.
Of course.
I'm still marveling at this setup. I'm just really impressed.
Man, thank you.
I really like this. This is very polished. It's
That
very
means
fancy.
coming from somebody with your background that has as many successful videos out and movie, and we'll get into that later.
Right.
That means a lot because you've seen the top of the top and the bottom of the bottom, probably.
I also agree to a lot of stuff without asking any questions.
I mean,
So like I'll agree to an interview and then it's in somebody's van or something, and I'm like, I probably should have asked some questions.
Yeah,
So I'm always
man.
pleasantly surprised when I show up and it's like, oh, this is really professional. This is cool. Good.
versus the van interviews.
Yeah, I'll do them.
Yeah.
But
I've seen some of those go real sideways on Pornhub real quick.
They get weird at the end.
I just wanted to ride down the street. Why is everybody pulling their dicks out? This is crazy. I didn't sign up for this interview.
That's funny.
So I guess for the people that don't know, a little bit about yourself, Matt. What's where you from? What got you into YouTube?
Sure.
All those good little details.
Sure. Most people, if they've seen any of my work, it's been on my YouTube channel as Master Ken. We also have a decent following on Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, but primarily started on YouTube. I grew up back east. I went to College of Santa Fe for film school and graduated and started making short films and trying to figure out how to get into the business. At the time, people were writing articles about how video on the internet was never going to take off because it was too expensive to have enough bandwidth for people to watch. So they were like, don't invest time in that because that's never going to take off.
God damn, were they wrong?
Yeah, they're completely off. But I would make short films and do the film festival circuit and spend, 6 months to a year scrounging together, a couple $1,000 to make this film and then shoot it and edit and take it on a circuit and realize that like after a year, I was like, gosh, I feel like 700 people maybe saw my movie and this took a long time.
Damn.
And then when YouTube came along, my friends started making episodic stuff and I would look at the view counts and I'd be like, well, that video got 1,100 views in like a week. So like at least if it still costs me money and doesn't do anything for me, at least more people will see it. So I thought, well, I should figure out the YouTube thing. So I spent a couple of years putting my short films on YouTube, and then I get even less views. I have a film that took me like 8 months to make it like 150 views.
Oh,
like, how are fewer people seeing this now? So I couldn't fit because I didn't understand how any of that worked. And so then I had a couple of things get more views. I did a commercial. I was studying a martial art called American Kempo at the time, and I did a commercial for my school and had them do all these kind of cool choreographed martial arts moves, and that video got like 20,000 views. And I was like,
shit.
oh, wait a minute. Okay, so it's, number one, it's got action in it. Number two, there's a lot of people online looking for martial arts related content. So it's like you have to identify an audience. If you identify a group of people that are interested in something, then that affects view count. It's not about the lighting and the editing and stuff like that. It's about finding out who wants to see what. And 100%. So I started formulating that. And so created a web series, we were calling them at the time, an episodic thing. I had worked on some other people's web series, and I ended up settling on an idea for, it was kind of like The Office, like a mockumentary style show, but set in a martial arts studio. And it was the first thing that when I released it, people connected with immediately. Like it started getting views very quickly, and realized I had identified a sort of gap in the viewership in the market where nobody was really doing martial arts comedy. And so I was like, okay, so specifically martial arts comedy, people are interested in this. So started releasing those. And initially it was like a sitcom. It was like a fully produced show, and then it evolved into other formats over the years. But that's the short version of how I got started. Ended up doing by playing a character called Master Ken, who is this kind of arrogant, oblivious martial arts instructor who believes that his style is the most dangerous of anybody's style. Which anybody who's ever studied martial arts, no matter what school, I had bounced around studying martial arts at different dojos over the years, and I found that almost every school I went to, every martial arts instructor believed that their stuff was the good stuff, and everybody else's stuff was bullshit. And so I noticed that theme, whether I was studying Kempo or Krav Maga or Jiu-Jitsu, everybody was like, this is the shit that works in the street. And those guys suck. So I sort of embodied that into one guy who believed that he was doing the street lethal techniques that were always going to work, and it resonated with people because everybody had met somebody like that.
It was relatable.
That believed that. It was relatable. Yeah. So that was and that was kind of how it. And I did other things over the years. I've acted in some of the movies and TV shows that have shot here, and done a lot of other work that I'm proud of. But the character of Master Ken and the sort of world of Master Ken is a thing that has endured over the years, and just kept growing.
It's a long time too. I went back because I think the first time that I noticed it was obviously like around the time Alejandro and Len Words were doing their film student stuff, right? So like you guys were kind of like, it was interesting because I'm stepping in just trying to get a fucking music video shot, right? And Alejandro's like, no, we need guns, we need bitches. This has to be amazing. And it was. But that's that's when like you guys first hit my radar. And that was, not the beginning days of YouTube, but kind of.
Pretty close.
Like it was like 2011, 2012-ish, something like that. So, I went back obviously when I knew we were gonna sit down, and that's the first thing I noticed. I was like, man, this is The Office if it was at a karate dojo. Yeah, for
exactly.
Sure.
That was how we pitched it.
The one that had me fucking dying was the episode where homegirl really liked her instructor, and she's like, when he's on top of me, it's like he's inside. On top of me. And what made me think of The Office was the shot that you guys did where he's on top of like another student, and she's watching him, and you guys like zoomed into her face like in between them. I was like, oh, this is the fucking Office.
Telling the stories with reaction shots. Julie Lopez played the character of Cynthia, did a great job with that. Alex Knight played the skeptical orange belt who was always arguing with Master Ken. And like those reaction shots kind of punctuate all the punchlines. Like we say the funny thing, but then we cue the audience to know what's weird by going to somebody off to the side looking at the camera, being like,
The
"God,
gym-
these people
the
are
gym.
crazy." Yeah, exactly. Yeah, yeah.
gym
So
guy.
we definitely were inspired and by that and mimicked that style very efficiently. It just became unrealistic to make the show that way over time because we couldn't figure out how to make any money at any of it. So it was like we were getting views, and I got meetings in Hollywood. I got to pitch things, but nobody knew how to monetize it. And so we started doing like crowdfunding campaigns, and those did okay. We would raise a couple of bucks, but really only enough money to pay people for like a couple weekends, you know what I mean? Like it was so much effort. But one thing we discovered accidentally, maybe getting ahead of myself here, but one of the things that changed the format of the show was in the crowdfunding campaign, we would say, hey, for $100, Master Ken will do a personalized shout out to your dojo and your instructor. So give us a couple details and we'll roast you for a minute.
Smart.
And we sold like 100 of those.
Fire.
And we were like, oh,
Okay.
okay, so there's interest in that, number one. And number two, then we were like, how are we gonna shoot 100? Like I didn't mean to sell
That's
that.
a whole
Oops.
job in
Yeah,
itself.
yeah. We were like, well, we can't spend a bunch of time, or if we spend too much time, then it's not good value for what we sold. So we shot all 100 of them in like one weekend. We just set a time limit. It was like, okay, you have 5 minutes per. We just have to go into the studio and shoot them. And we knocked them out. And not only did we get them done, but some of them were kind of funny. And so we posted those on YouTube, and those got more views than the sitcom that we had a 15-person cast and crew, and it took us 2 days to shoot it and a week and a half to edit it. And I was like, why are we spending all this time? Like, I love making the show format.
Doing too much.
It costs too much. It takes too long. And people like me just stand in front of the camera saying goofy shit. And so we started to evolve the format and be like, okay, so in order for this to be sustainable, sometimes it's just Master Ken, sometimes it's Master Ken and one other person, and whatever skit we can come up with in the next 20 minutes, that's the video. And it's just, it became more efficient for it to be able to drive viewership and gain subscribers, and also it realized the importance of content that doesn't require context. If you put a show out and it's episode 7 of season 3, no one's gonna find that and just watch it. You know what I mean? Because you don't know what happened before.
I'm not going to start this show from here.
Exactly. You have to go back to the beginning. So we would create context-free concepts where it's like,
Smart.
Yeah, like the first video we ever did that went viral was 100 ways to attack the groin. And that was a video that was just, I noticed that other YouTubers did something special for their 100th upload. And so we had some other stupid idea where it was like, what about like a birthday cake with like 100 candles, and then like that catches fire, and then the sprinklers go off, and it was like, we don't have time to do any of that. And we were like, what are we gonna do? So what if I just hit you in the dick 100 times? And they were like, that's pretty funny.
It worked for Jackass.
Yeah, exactly. So we did that, and that was the first video that once we uploaded, it got to 1 million views in like 10 days or something like that, and really all of a sudden pushed the channel forward. It doubled our subscribership. We went from like 28,000 subscribers to like 60,000 subscribers in like 10 days.
That's awesome.
And started to see so it's just a ton of trial and error of being like, okay, we know we want to make content. We know we have this. We've identified this audience. But how do we make it efficiently, monetize it properly, and keep the viewership growing? And that's been the game every year. Because it also changes every year.
Constantly.
Every year, the way that the platforms reward certain things and punish other things changes every year. So, it's just an ever-evolving process.
So how close were you to when it started shifting to short form content when you accidentally found that out? Like how many years ago was that when you started doing the just Master Ken versus the whole big production?
We did the crowdfunding part in season 3 when we were making that. And we were making a season about every year and a half, because it was harder every year to get everybody back together. And really, I think after season 4 was when I realized, because we put so much work and time and effort in season 4, and the views were okay. They just didn't compare to how much viewership the other videos were getting. And so I sort of begrudgingly finished season 4 being like, God, I'm going to work so hard on these episodes, and they're going to get 10% of the viewership that the other stuff we're doing is getting. And I love I love the more complicated format. You know, I went to film school. I love telling stories. I love working with a crew. I do love doing all that stuff. It's just you kind of have to have your process fit the platform.
Yeah.
And so I would say like I think it was probably about 3 years of doing content and not uploading every day, but 3 years of trial and error until we figured out that like, okay, shorter format stuff that doesn't require context does better, and then figuring out what that means. And then even still having that formula work and not work and work and not work, figuring out like something goes viral. It's like, okay, 100 ways to attack the groin. Cool. We should do 101 ways to attack the groin.
Yeah.
And we do that and then it doesn't perform. And it's like, but that's the same thing. I thought they liked that.
What was it about it? Yeah.
So mixing and matching and constantly trying to figure out how to make it similar to what people like that they've enjoyed in the past, but not so similar that they don't watch. And so that every year has been the challenge.
And it's constantly changing. That I mean, this year when all the YouTubers were like, "All right, guys, I'm out of here. I'm out." So many YouTubers were like, "I'm out of here. I'm out of here."
Yeah.
And when you look back to it, it's got to be back to what you were saying. It's the ROI, right?
Absolutely.
On the effort.
Yep.
So if you're putting like some YouTubers are like, "Holy shit." Huge production, like
Yep.
exact, and
Absolutely.
even if it's just like vloggers, right? Sometimes they got these crazy cinematic shots and they travel the world and they're doing all this crazy shit and they cut their ad in half. They're
Yep.
making like the homie Dr. Bo Hightower. He told me, he's like, man, there was a time I was making like about like $20K on ads. He's like, now I'm lucky if I'm making $250.
Yep.
Like, so it's like it's a weird place that it's in right now because you got content creators that want to stay on the platform. They love the long form aspect of YouTube, and YouTube's just, I mean, it's top tier. It's the number one still, no matter what.
Absolutely.
But you have a lot of people leaving because the juice isn't worth the squeeze. All the effort you're having to put in for these masterful videos, you're not getting a return in views, a return in ad space, none of it.
Yeah, and it's trying to, and I definitely think that it is, I understand the frustration, and I understand that there's a lot of times you can look at it and say, there's got to be an easier way to make money. Like I can understand somebody when I get really frustrated with the process, I'm like, I wonder if Best Buy is hiring.
No shit.
You know what I mean? Because then I just got to go and worry about whether or not we have Xboxes.
Oh, yeah.
And I'll just go and just kind of fuck off at.
Go sell some TVs. Because you get a percentage of the TVs.
Exactly.
You sell,
Yeah. But I really love what I do, and then so I just look at it as a moving target. Every year, it's a moving target. The profitability is a moving target. It's like I'm never going to be able to lock in and be like, okay, I've got it figured out, and now I don't have to work hard anymore. Now I don't have to reconfigure what it is I do, or how. So now at the beginning of each year, I just sit down and watch as many videos on best practices as I can, as many videos on, because there are channels that specialize in what's changed with the algorithm, what's changed with viewing habits, what's changed with the ad revenue, and just study it and be like, okay, how do I adapt to that and figure that out? And so the trial and error part never really stops in that respect.
Constantly changes.
Yeah. So if I really enjoyed doing something else, I would.
Yeah.
I honestly would, but I like creating content so much. I like being creative so much, and to have created anything that people there every year I say like, this is probably the last year. You know what I mean? I feel like we've been around for a minute. Like we can take a break, and then even if revenue is down, someone will reach out, and because I do a live version of the show, I'll travel to martial arts events, martial arts tournaments, and stuff like that, and do like a stand-up version of Master Ken.
That's sick.
And it gets a great response, particularly to the audience that really knows me. And so I'll be kind of wrapping things up. Revenue will be down, viewership will be down, and be like, that was probably it. That was probably my career. That's okay. I'll go do something else. And then someone will be like, do you want to go to Italy and perform in Italy? And I'm like,
I do.
well, yeah, I do. Okay, so I guess it's not over.
Let me
I guess
get the mustache back out
exactly.
of storage.
I take it out of mothballs, and I'm like, here we go. Put the dust off of it, and be like, yeah, well, I'm gonna do it again because I want to go to Italy.
Yeah.
So
How long has it been since you played that character, Ken?
how long has it been? Three days.
3 days. Well, I mean, I guess the episodes since you dropped like one of those episodes.
So the full episodes, we finished the storyline in season 4. I want to say that was 2015, 20,
Okay,
20, 2015, something like that, was when we kind of wrapped up like the story that involved all the students and this overarching thing. And then we went to more of a singular format or a guest format. That's something that has sustained, is that like, because that's a, you know, as an influencer, like there is a point where you struggle to grow on your own momentum, where you have to do cross-pollinating, you have to be on other people's channels, they have to be on yours, because there's only so much growth you can do on your own. So you have to show up on other people's platforms and have them show up on yours.
Introduce yourself to a whole nother audience.
Constantly. And so having guests on the show, that was something we dabbled with years ago, but started doing, and it was also the easiest format. Where I would show up, and like that's part of my selling point, is we'll show up someplace and there'll be somebody who's famous in their own right and be like, I want you on my show and I'm going to have you in and out of here in 20 minutes. You know, we're going to do an intro, you're going to do a thing, I'm going to do a thing, we're going to wrap it up and we're going to move on. And so making it easy for people and fun for people, and it's a quick edit and we just knock them out, you know. So that's a sustainable format. So that's like, you know, another one of those little discoveries. There's still other projects we put more time into, but that's another way to like keep the thing going
and
to
keep
be
the
like,
momentum.
Yeah, absolutely.
Bringing in new eyes. That's funny because I was just watching the one that you did on the beach. And she's
with Zeta.
I'm fucking freezing out here. What the hell? And you're like, and she's like, I got to come back because my limo left. Like, that shit was funny. And I like the part too where you zoomed and you're like, yeah, it seems like there's a homeless man over here in the ocean. Like, you zoomed into the guy that was there, bro. Like, I see exactly what you mean by that, because all of these platforms obviously have leaned into the short form content. It's king right now. I remember when, you know, everybody was like, it's photographers specifically, like if anybody would take a picture like this, they'd be like, what the fuck are you doing?
I know.
Are you, you're a noob? Bro, come on, bro. Get out of here. You don't take pictures like that. Now, if someone goes like this, people are like, damn, you old head, what the fuck you taking a landscape picture for? Even all the camera and gear coming with the ability to go portrait mode, vertical. Because, you know, look at YouTube Shorts. The moment that
Facebook Reels, Instagram Reels, TikTok.
That's a way. I feel like for me, you know, obviously, you know, you got what's your subscriber count now on YouTube? It's up there in the millions.
We
right?
just passed 1 million subscribers like a month ago.
Yeah, that's fucking congrats. Make
Thank
some
you.
fucking noise for that, man. That is no easy feat, bro. Especially in the landscape of today's.
Yeah, absolutely.
YouTube.
Yeah, we were thrilled. We couldn't believe it.
You know,
we were stuck at like 800 and something thousand for like 2 years, where I just couldn't figure out the growth and I couldn't figure it out. Yeah, and then something went viral out of nowhere and like pushed us over. We'd been stuck at like 970,000 for months, and I was pissed off about it. And my girlfriend pulled up and she's like, hey, where did you say your subscriber count was? I said, we're 30,000 away. It's probably gonna be 6 more months until I get over it. And she's like, you're 10,000 away. And I was like, since when? And then by the time I signed in, we were 7,000 away. And I was like, oh shit, something's going viral right now. And we were looking at the numbers and I was like, we're going to get 1 million subscribers tonight. Like, it was moving so fast. And it was some random reel. You're talking about vertical video. We had filmed something at one of my live shows that we had filmed like this, but then cropped in. To make it a vertical video as a reel, and that was going viral, and that was pushing subscribers, and that put us over the top. Wow, so nice. Yeah, and on the beach episode that you mentioned, one of the reasons I love that episode is like it's a great example of how adaptive we've become, because I used to be very meticulous about planning everything and wanting things to be scripted and wanting things to go the way we wanted. With that one, Zeta Zhang, who's a professional wrestler, she's our most popular recurring guest. Beautiful, funny, really fun to have on the show. We were going to do a beach self-defense, and we were thinking, like pretty girl, bikini, it's going to be sunny.
Viral
we're in Southern California, and then we show up we didn't know that Long Beach is a dump. It is a dump. We had no idea, because we were staying at a hotel like within a 1-minute drive to the beach. We'll just go right to the beach, and we go, and there's needles and trash and homeless people sleeping in tents and everything, and I was like, okay, so. This is going to be the episode. So now the episode's going to be about what a dump Long Beach is. And there was some dude standing in the water staring out, and we were like, are they about to kill themselves? Like what are they going to do? So we just filmed everything, and we were like, okay, new concept. Take everything we just planned, and throw it out. And that was something I got good at by necessity because of the number of times we would schedule a guest and they would drop out, or schedule a guest and they would show up and they didn't want to do anything that we planned. They wanted to do something different. And so it frustrated me because like the more prep I did, the more wasted it was. So I just stopped doing that. I was like, you know what? I'm not going to plan anything. Yeah. I'm going to show up and say whatever comes into my head, and we're going to shoot it fast, and then we're going to move on. And it ended up being the most efficient way to do it. So
it seems like it. And I think the audience nowadays wants that grittier, real vibe. Mm-hmm. Like, if there's one thing that we could give to fucking COVID, was it kind of stripped the veil away. Like when you had celebrities getting on their phone and they hadn't dyed their hair, and they had lagañas in their eyes, and like, guys, day 5,068,000 trapped here.
Beard is white.
Yeah, it's like Kevin Hart is the perfect example. I remember he posted a video. I was like, damn, Kevin Hart out here doing bad. What the fuck? I felt bad about my haircut until I seen Kevin Hart's video. I'm like, I guess, man, my shit ain't gray yet. I kind of got a fade here. But I think that, because everybody was at home on their phones digesting content. Yep. Like, let's face it, none of us would have known who the fuck Tiger King was if it wasn't for COVID.
Right, exactly.
And now everybody, like, you go back and that's like one of the top 5 moments of the whole COVID era.
Yep. Yeah.
But people were on their phones at home digesting content.
Yep.
And I think people wanted the real shit. They didn't want the fake bullshit.
Yeah, because everything was stripped away.
A lot of people thought, this is it. This is how I punch my ticket. At least I can, if I'm watching something, I want it to be real. I don't want to watch these fake Hollywood personalities that have been prettied up over the years.
Yeah, absolutely.
Real. And that's why TikTok, I think, at that moment exploded. Because you had people in their kitchens dancing around, doing lip sync videos that were horrible. But people were, what's interesting is those, because for me, this whole influencer shit fucking fell in my lap. I make music, dog. That's not what I was like planning to do with what I'm doing right now, right? So COVID hit, we got a tour stripped away from us. My oldest son is like, Dad, why don't you get on TikTok? And I'm like, why don't I? No, fuck that. What are you fucking talking about? My guy, I'm 34 years old at the time. I was like, you want to see your dad dancing around on the internet like a fucking tonto? Are you serious? So, no, Dad, like lip syncing, doing weird shit. Oh, no, Dad, look. And he started showing me like videos and content. And I'm like, oh shit, like, okay, I could see where I might be able to fit into this space. But it was from a place of authenticity, right? And I feel like that's what worked. People were, like you said, you find your audience, you find something that's missing, right? And then you provide it in an authentic way that they can relate to. And that's what it started gaining traction, and that's where it just fucking fell into my lap.
So when you started making your content, were you like writing it out? Were you just mimicking what you saw other people doing? Like, how did you figure it out?
Like you said, I just picked up my camera and went, right?
Okay.
So the first video, it was interesting because, I've been on the road a lot. So I noticed that people don't understand our New Mexican culture, right? One time specifically was me and my dad were up in Colorado Springs. This isn't far, right? This is not far from New Mexico. Right. And we get picked up from a taxi picks us up, driving us back to the room. And he's like, oh, man, where you guys from? We tell him we're from New Mexico. And this dude's like jaw drop. He's like, oh, really? I'm like, what the fuck? Yeah, man, we're from New Mexico. He was like excited and flap. I'm like, why is this dude so geeked up that we're from New Mexico? What the fuck is going on? And he's like, man, so like, was it hard to get here? I'm like, nah, dog. We just drove up I-25. It was pretty simple. And he's like, nah, like, did they give you trouble at the border? I'm like,
oh my God.
Not really, bro. It said, welcome to beautiful Colorado. And we just drove in. There was nobody there. It was pretty easy. And then he told my dad, he's like, man, like for someone of your age, you speak like really good English. I'm like, my dude, where do you think we're from? He's like, you guys from Mexico? I'm like, my dog, New Mexico, brother. We're literally right underneath y'all. Like, what map have you been looking at your whole life? So when I was like starting to make the content, I thought about stuff like that. I'm like, there's a whole world out there that doesn't know we fucking exist, for one, and they think all we do is sell blue meth, and that's it.
That's the one reference they have.
Yeah, that's it. They like, we got the best scante in the fucking world over here. So I didn't write any of it down. And the first video that I think really gained a lot of traction for me was, it came from a real life experience. I was at the gas station, I was putting gas, and this dude walks up to me, he's all, hey brother, fuck, I'm doing bad, brother, you think you can give me a ride down the street? I'm like, my dude, I got my kid in the truck, I'm probably not gonna give you a ride down the street, my guy. He's all, but I'll just hop in your tailgate real quick, brother. I'm like, nah, bro, you're not gonna hop in my tailgate. I'm not gonna give you a ride, bro. Like, I got some water here, dog, go ahead. Like, find a ride somewhere else. And as he left, I thought to myself, I'm like, damn, that happens a lot. I got my phone out and literally shot it right there with my son sitting in his car seat in the truck. Shot it, put New Mexican or Albuquerque gas stations be like, posted it, boom, explosion. I'm like, what the fuck is going on? This is crazy.
And did it happen immediately? Like as soon as you had it up?
Immediate. Yeah. It was immediate explosion. And I'm like, okay, this makes sense. This is working, right? But again, I feel like.
But were you like, I need to do another gas station video? Or like, what was your reaction when it went viral? Like, what did you think to do next?
I did a couple more. I did like part 1, part 2.
Okay.
So I kept them short, right? Because, TikTok and all those short form content, back then they were rewarding you for 15 seconds to about 25 seconds.
Right, which has changed now.
Now they want you, they're like, now TikTok's like, nah, shoot horizontal and make it 5 minutes.
Yeah.
I am not gonna watch a fucking horizontal 5-minute video on TikTok. I'm sorry. If I wanna do that, I'm gonna go to the God of it all, to the Bible of the internet and go to YouTube. Right. But back then they were like, keep it at that space, which was good because then it allowed me to do, I didn't have to blow my whole fucking load on one video. You know what I'm saying? No one wants to watch me talking at a fucking gas station for fucking 2 minutes doing the same character, right? So it allowed me to do like 1, 2, 3, and 4. And then once I'd get to about 4 on any of my reoccurring videos, right? I'm like, okay, that's enough. I've done enough. I'll bring the guy back every now and then, right? I dress the same, similar. Obviously Master Ken, right? You got the same gi on, you got the mustache, that it's you. So sometimes I'll bring him back, but with the attention span and the way that the short form content is now, you got to do more than one for my end of it, right? I have to be multifaceted.
Okay.
If I just am the guy at the gas station, my shit would have probably been done 2 years ago.
Yeah, you're gonna run out. You're gonna run out of ideas. Yeah.
2 years ago, people would have been like, "Damn, bro, we're tired of seeing this motherfucker at the gas station." So and then I pivoted into the GTA videos. Those ones went crazy too.
Yep.
If GTA was in Albuquerque.
Yep. Those are great.
But it was all from a place of authenticity, and it was all from a not very planned out fucking thing, man. Because again, I've obviously I didn't go to film school or nothing like that, but I've shot videos, I've been on set with these guys. I've been blessed enough to have a crew that has done all that. So I've got to see, kind of behind the curtain. I got to see Oz, and I realized that's so much fucking work, bro. Yeah. People take for granted when they see the end of a movie and there's 1 million credits.
Yeah.
Each part is such an integral to the final product of that movie. Every name on that list was fucking needed.
Yeah, absolutely.
So being a content creator, if you can eliminate the amount of people that have to be on set that you have to pay or figure out how you're going to trade them with, I think it allows you to create content faster.
Yeah, it's been kind of amazing in this era to see the battle between the new media space, I'm not even calling it, they used to call it new media, but just the media space, the content creator space, and legacy media, the older companies trying to stay relevant, trying to figure out how to keep their business models, seeing that there are channels, if every major studio, every major network has their own YouTube channel.
Right.
And you'll go and look at their views, and you'd be like,
"What the hell?
You guys suck, man. No one's watching your shit. You guys are spending millions of dollars, and no one's watching your shit." Yeah. And that anybody who understands something that interests people and enjoys creating and enjoys how the platforms work can far surpass the viewership. And watching that kind of battle,
it's been interesting.
It's been really when we wait. It was when I got the opportunity to make a movie again after doing YouTube for so long, on the one hand, I was really thrilled to be back into the filmmaking space, but several times throughout the process of not just making it, but also trying to get it out to people, I was like reminded, like, God, everything has changed since the days of Robert Rodriguez and Kevin Smith and all those guys, all those success stories of like guys who made some indie film in their hometown, and then they would get it, they'd get it into a theatrical, and that was their way, and that the movie made money. And nowadays, it's like it's changed so much, and so trying to figure out how to still create work in a way that is really gratifying and love of the craft and everything, and still make it fit in this new landscape, which is so bizarre.
Yeah, it's funny that you say that, because you have these huge movie studios and they're struggling to get views, and my ass gets my phone, goes down to the Civic Plaza and knocks out $1 million in like a week off of a video that wasn't even fucking planned, man. Like, we had homeless people walking up like, man, what are you guys doing? Nah, just taking pictures. So it's interesting to watch it, the people that had the bag, that were in control of the industry for so long, try and figure out how to maneuver. It reminds me of the Netflix versus Blockbuster situation.
Right.
Blockbuster, no, what? Mail, no, what? No one's gonna do that shit. And where's Blockbuster?
Yeah. The fact that they had the opportunity to get ahead of it and then just went out of business.
You can't be the old guy that doesn't want to listen to any of the new ideas.
Yeah.
Because then you're fucking done, man.
Yeah, and the effect that like young people having devices from very early ages and what they watch and what they engage with. Kids know who YouTubers are, but if you ask them who most movie stars are,
no clue,
no idea, and don't really give a shit. Even if they do, if they recognize one, they recognize them from a meme or a GIF or something like that.
He's right.
Yeah. They don't know. They don't really know who that person is, but they're like, oh, that's the one. So they know Jim Carrey from some meme they saw, not like all these $100 million movies that we all saw growing up. Yeah, it's so the way the relationship that the audience has with the media has changed so much, and trying to figure out how to navigate that is so interesting.
So, the Master Ken character. Did you have the concept for him before Enter the Dojo, or did Enter the Dojo kind of give birth to his character?
Enter the Dojo was like, it was sort of a package deal. It was like I wanted to recreate what it was like to be in an American martial arts school, because the very nature of the Americanization of martial arts was to make it profitable, because for most of the existence of martial arts, it was not profitable to teach. Even some of the great martial arts masters and the people who were revered in that world never really figured out how to make much money at it. It was more of a status thing. It was more of a continuing tradition thing. It was valued in multiple cultures, but it really wasn't a good way to make money. And so when the sort of corporatization of martial arts started happening, how to commoditize it, it also kind of made it silly. Yeah. It made it a little silly, as far as like all of the different belts and like the fact that you could kind of buy your way to a black belt, and the idea that like you were learning techniques, that martial arts had to become more accessible. It had to be something where you could just memorize choreography essentially, and then you could, and that way you could advance, because if you made it really hard, then people wouldn't take classes, because fighting's really hard.
Then it's not profitable anymore.
Exactly. So it needed to be profitable. And so, and the fact that I started in a very traditional martial arts school, an Okinawan Kempo school, and we did we used the Japanese terminology and had all the etiquette. And I thought every martial arts school was like that. And then when I moved around the country after I graduated high school, trying to figure out how to get into the business, wherever I moved, I would go down the street to the closest martial arts school and just sign up for a class, and found out that there's no standardization really. Like, you can't walk into a hospital and say that you're a surgeon and just start operating. But you can absolutely open a school and put on a black belt and be like, yeah, I'm a master in this or that. Like, no one really checks. You know what I mean? Like you can get away with it. It's harder now with the internet, but before that, you really could teach for 30 years and just be a crazy person and have no idea. And so I went to a school. I had collected all these anecdotes over the years. I went to a school in Anaheim Hills. I moved out there trying to figure out how to get up to LA and get into the business. And I went down the street to a school, and these guys, this guy who said he was a Green Beret and had created his own martial art based on his experiences, he only honored a type of sparring called groin sparring. Where he said that's the only target that matters, so that's the only target we'll go after. So the goal was never to punch somebody in the face or to kick him in the leg. The goal was to grab the other person's groin.
Holy
that was how he made everybody spar.
That's insane.
And once they grabbed your groin, that was that. The fight was over. Because obviously you were dead if that happened. You know,
That does not sound legitimate at all.
It was a real school that I went to, and
What
then
if they were just asking for directions?
exactly.
Hey, bro, calm down.
They should have asked from across the street.
That's right, damn right. And so I collected all these bizarre anecdotes that were based on real people that were just living in little corners of every city in America that just had these bizarre ways of teaching martial arts. And that ended up being that. So Master Ken became a kind of Frankensteining of all of these different characters, and some of whom were legitimate martial artists. Sometimes people just say things that are kind of wild. I have a good friend, Kevin Bankins, who's a Hoist Gracie black belt and really fantastic martial artist. He actually plays the killer in our movie Cop vs. Killer, and he is a highly trained martial artist. And he was teaching. I trained with him for many years, and one time in class he was saying, "When you're about to get in a fight, you need to get you a face."
Get you a face.
Get you a face that makes people not want to fight you. He's like, you got to look at them with a face that makes them think they just made a mistake. You know what I mean? Like you. And so I started thinking about that, and I was like, okay, like a kill face. Like a kill face technique where the face is so scary that it kills them. You know what I mean? And so that became a martial arts technique where Ken has a face that's so scary that he has to like cover it up so that, because if anyone sees it, they'll die.
They're done.
Yeah. So it just, and Kevin's a great legitimate martial artist, great guy to train with, but he said a funny thing one time and I was like, that's a Master Ken technique. And so now, that's even now why I continue to train as much as I can, because people don't know it, but they're always giving me ideas for more content and more ideas that I can just play with. Yeah.
That's funny. I like that. That's organic and authentic. Again, people gravitate towards that because there's a level of, oh yeah, I relate to that.
Yeah.
That's happened to me. I remember when I had a weird ass instructor that didn't really know what the fuck he was talking about. It reminds me of that other instructor on Napoleon Dynamite.
Yeah, exactly. The Rex Kwon Do guy.
Rex Kwon Do.
Grab my wrist.
Grab my wrist.
And then even like this.
Like this.
Exactly. Yeah, that's a perfect reference.
Even homie that went crazy a couple years ago, the Detroit dude.
Detroit Dust.
Yes,
Commander
bro.
Dale.
Yeah, he
Commander
went.
Dale.
It's funny because I think a lot of people were like, "Is this real? Is this satire?" Like,
I got to be honest,
what the
and
fuck is going on?
I don't know if I've told Commander, because we did an episode with him, and I don't know if I've told him this, but like I wasn't sure when I agreed to do an episode with him. I was like, in fact, I had told people if he's doing satire, I'm done, because he's too believable. He's fantastic. 100%. He's taken it to another level, and I should retire because he's so convincing. But he's just a genuine guy who really like he loves making content and wants to teach the self-defense stuff that he knows, and got like one of his TikToks or YouTube shorts or something got something like 100 million views or something, like put him on the map, and he just became that guy. So
and he was everywhere after that.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So and it's amazing how quickly you can get known for that type of stuff because it happens so fast.
Oh yeah, and like you were saying before we turn the cameras on, there's a price that comes with it. Right? There's a price. Like I was telling these guys, I've said it before, like, when I was, I'm still in the music industry, but like when that was like my bread and butter, my main thing, the only thing I was doing, like I had a level of success to where like, I was recognized, not like crazy, but I'd go, people would know who I was. I was comfortable. I was a nice little ceiling, right? But until you hit a level where there's people running up on you all the time, you don't know if what you're doing is for that recognition or if you really love what you're doing, right? And there's no way to test it until you're in it.
Right.
Same way there's no way to test if you're going to be a shithead when you get money until you get money.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
Because you might be like, oh, I'm going to be great. I'm going to take care of all my people. And you get the money and you're like, see you motherfuckers later. Fuck all y'all. I'm moving. Hell no. No way. I know we've known each other for 20 years, but motherfucker, I'm brand new now.
Yeah, everybody's a socialist when they're broke.
100%.
Become a millionaire, and it's sort of like, what? Tell me more about this capitalism.
Yeah.
I'm very interested.
I want to hear all about these tax incentives that you guys have been using lately. So you don't really know until you get there.
Yeah,
right?
it changes the relationship you have with the process. I always have loved Ricky Gervais's spiel on that. Of that guy who created the original, the BBC version of The Office. So he was asked one time by a journalist, like, "What would you recommend for somebody who wants to be famous?" And he kind of got this face on it. He said, "Kill a prostitute." he said if the point is to be famous, like people get famous for awful things all the time. He said there's nothing wrong with if being famous is a result of you doing work that you really love, that you're passionate about, that people enjoy.
Yes.
But he said for that to be the goal, you need to reevaluate, because that's not a good. It's already starting off a kind of unhealthy relationship with it. So and if it does happen, oftentimes it happens unexpectedly with a thing, that you didn't mean for it. Like you said, this wasn't really. I was doing the same thing where I was like, I'm going to be I'm going to be Stanley Kubrick. I'm going to like be up in a mansion, spending 5 years working
Come
on
down from the mountain
to tell everyone,
to teach the people,
to bestow my artwork on everyone, and then I'll retreat back to my castle,
For sure.
And I didn't anticipate, kicking people in the dick on the internet.
Hey.
But I really like those little flashpoints have allowed me to do part of the processes that I really enjoy. So I'm grateful for it. So like being open to the idea that you might reach a version of your goal, just not the way you intended, is another part of it, right?
It's never right when you're creative, when you're creating art, whatever it is, you have an idea in your head. When you get to the end, it's never exactly how you've seen it.
Yeah.
Ever.
Yeah.
I've never created something and I'm like, damn, that was exactly.
Yeah.
It's not even fucking 90%.
That's how I heard it.
It's not even 90%. You're lucky if you get 50% to
Absolutely.
where you had like projected you getting to.
Absolutely.
So talking about that, you said movie, right? Name, where's it at? Let's talk about the movie, brother.
Yes. Okay. So I finally got to. The point of me doing a lot of the stuff that I'd done was try to get to the point to make movies, and the YouTube thing had taken off, and that became my focus for many years. Still is my focus. Still really enjoy doing it. But we finally were able to make a feature film. It's called Cop versus Killer. It's available right now on Amazon and Tubi if anybody wants to check it out. And it's this thing that I wrote years ago. I'd gotten this idea. Spending a lot of time on YouTube, I had at one point, for some reason, I got fascinated with badge cam videos of makes some wild shit out there. Yeah. It was crazy stuff, and I just I saw this real life, incredible, this really crazy stuff happening, and thought, and for some reason the idea popped in my head. I thought, like, isn't it interesting that every time that if somebody pulls you over, you assume that they at very least are who they say they are. But like you have no idea of knowing. Like somebody could just pretend to be a cop and just pull you over, and like as long as they got flashing lights and they got a badge on, you'd be like, "Yes, officer." And so I thought, what if somebody was just pretending to be a cop and was just out there?
Bro, that's scary as fuck.
Yeah.
when you see the movie, bro,
Yeah.
it's
so I
it's real
thought
life.
so I thought about that, and so I wrote a script based on that, and initially wrote it like a Blair Witch movie kind of thing, where it was like all badge cam and dash cam stuff, where I was like, oh, we could shoot, like, it'll be part of the story that it looks like shit. That way we can make it for like no money. And it kept not happening. We kept not being able to get it together. And actually a couple times some people they liked the concept. They have to offer to buy it, but the deal never came through. And so that happened a few times. And so then during COVID, somebody reached out to me and said like, hey, I think I found like a tiny bit of money for you to go make a movie. And so they said, I need you to send me that script. And I couldn't actually find the final draft file of it. I could only find the PDF. And so I was about to send it, and then I started rereading it, and I was like, this sucks. I was like, I need to fix this. So I sat down, I did a page one rewrite, and I threw out like most of the found footage stuff. I was like, I'm just going to rewrite this as a movie. And I was like, there's no way anyone's in a hurry for this anyway. It's COVID, no one's doing anything. So I spent 2 weeks just rewriting it and sent them the updated draft. And they really liked it. And they said, okay, we're not going to be able to give you much, but we have X amount of dollars available, and if you want to make the movie, you can make it the way you want, and we'll leave you alone and stuff. And so that began this kind of, and it all happened very, very quickly. The script was sitting around for 10 years, and from when we began talking about there might be some money to the movie was right before New Year's in 2021, and we were filming February 28th, 2022. So it was like 8 weeks from like we might have some money to we're filming.
Go film. Yeah.
And we kind of, and really the only reason it happened was we just kind of decided we were going to do it. And because there was a bunch, one of the weirdest stories about it is like, you know, so we start hiring people, we start scouting locations, we start going through all this stuff. We decided we're going to shoot it down in Truth or Consequences, New Mexico, because we had connections down there, and it was like a small town where we kind of had the run of the town and everything.
Perfect.
But we get within like a month of production, and you know, you open a bank account for the movie, and there was $750 on that account, and that was my $750 because that's the minimum you have to have to open a business account.
Yeah.
And so I called the investors and I was like, "Hey, so is there money? Because like we've been talking about this for a month, and like you guys say next week we'll get you the money next week," and they said, "Yeah, no." And I said, "Cool. Well, we're now at the point where we have to buy plane tickets for people. So either I have the money today, or we have to cancel the movie." And it breaks my heart to say it, but like I can't keep promising people that we have money because we need it. And the guy says, "Look, listen, it's real, okay?" He said, "At my house in Santa Fe, in the front yard, there's an unmarked cop car, okay? It's unlocked." He said, "In the glove compartment, there's a check for $20,000 made out to the movie. So you can go get it right now if you want. Or we can wait till tomorrow and I can go with you." No more of this wait till tomorrow stuff. I was like,
I'm on my way.
Yeah, I was like, okay, cool. Give me the address. He gives me the address. So I hang up and it doesn't sound real. So I go to my girlfriend. I'm like, "Hun, can you do me a favor? Pick a really nice restaurant in Santa Fe that you would like to go to that has good drinks and good food. Because I think we're about to drive up to Santa Fe for absolutely no reason." And so when the check isn't there, I want a stiff drink.
Yeah. And
then we'll call everybody and say, "Hey guys, sorry, the movie is off." Drive up there, go to the address. There is an unmarked cop car in the front, on the front lawn. It's unlocked. I open up the glove compartment and it's empty. And right off, I'm like, "That mother! I told you he was lying.
Yep.
And she's like, wait. Did you check the console?" I said, "No, I didn't check the console. He didn't say it was in the console."
glove box.
She said, "Check the console, and then we'll go." And I open it up, and there's a contract, and there's a check, cashier's check for $20,000, and the check cleared immediately. We went straight to the bank, cleared immediately, and we were like, "Oh shit,
This is real.
we're actually going to make this movie," you know. But even then, we were still we only had $20,000 was not enough to make the movie. It was just enough not to cancel the movie
For sure.
So it went through a series of changes from that. We actually ended up partnering with. I got to give a shout out to Triangle U Studios down in Truth or Consequences. They're a small production studio down there, and we actually ended up meeting with them, and they agreed to do the gap financing, gave us access to their studio,
that's awesome.
gave us some extra employees on their payroll and stuff, and like they were able to get us across the finish line as far as like actually being able to really look at it. But it was really down to like, I think we were 2 weeks away from shooting when we made that deal with them. So really up until 2 weeks, we did not have the money. We did not have enough people. We did not have enough locations. We just kept acting like, well, I mean, we said we were going to start on the 28th. So, I mean, fingers crossed, you know,
sure.
you know, and in that process, part of the reason, one of the other weird things that happened about it, like we were actually supposed to have Lou Ferrigno, the Incredible Hulk, was supposed to be in our movie. Yeah, he was supposed to play the killer. And we actually got the script to him and he liked it. We had a meeting with him. He was really interested in it. He actually gave me some really good notes.
That's dope.
Normally you don't want to hear that as a filmmaker. You want to be like, "Look, my script is fine." But he had some really interesting things to say about what he wished the killer would say and do. And I was like, interesting. And so exactly, I took some notes. And so I did a polish based on his notes. And then he got another bigger film and he had to drop out because we could barely afford him as it was. But we kept all the stuff that he asked for changes. So I always, every time I get a chance to, I shout him out as like giving me some really key feedback that actually made the role better for Kevin Benkins, who ended up playing the killer and doing a great job as the killer.
It's a collaborative sport, bro.
Yeah, big time.
I mean, music and film. We talk about this a lot on the podcast. It's a reoccurring theme. You know, we've said which one's like the superior art form, stuff like that. But both, it's a team sport.
Absolutely.
It's collaborative. That's the best part. Honestly, I think that's the best part about it.
I also think that's something that, like, if you create long enough, you begin to look forward. If maybe some people enjoy that right in the beginning. I felt like a lot more precious about it when I was younger, because it had to do with my ego of like, I want to make sure I'm contributing.
Me.
Yeah, you want to be Stanley Kubrick up there.
Yeah, exactly. It's got to be
Yeah.
all my idea, And now I'm like so relieved when someone comes in with a better.
You have a good idea. Bring
Great.
It.
Yeah,
I love it.
Thank you. Please take some of the workload off of
For
me.
sure.
I don't want to be responsible for every creative choice. I would like to I just want the right thing for whatever it is we're doing, not my thing. I want the right thing.
Yeah.
And that's like, just with enough experience being like, God, the harder you try to hang on to that, the worse it gets. Whereas if you just get around with people who are talented and creative in their own right, the project's always better. It's always exponentially better, and a better experience, because everybody feels like they're contributing and playing off of each other and stuff. So that's still one of the things I enjoy the most, and wish I could do more often on that scale, because it was even feeling. I loved making a movie, like having a crew and everything like that, and yet there was something. I hesitate to say outdated about the process, but like something, it was such a separation from what
you usually
it's
do.
become, where it's like a lot of times we get an idea, grab the phone, throw a mic on, make a thing. Like you said, get 1 million views and be like, okay, there's the thing. That's what we do now.
For sure.
Versus spending a year or 2 or 3 on a movie that you don't even know where it's going to go. You don't know if anyone's going to watch it. It's just a
it'll even
complete.
get made.
Yeah, or even finished. Yeah, like we were talking in the beginning, like I have so much respect for anybody who finishes a movie ever.
Yeah.
Now, because every single day, the production started with something that threatened to shut the entire movie down. Like every morning would wake up and be like, oh my
Truck's
God.
not starting.
Yeah. Stuff like that. Yeah. Like every single day. We lost our location for day 1 the day before. Like, we're about ready to make the call sheets.
Yeah.
And the guy pulled his location because he actually read the script, and he was like,
I don't like this.
Yeah, there was blood everywhere. And he's like, you don't put blood in my living room. And I was like, I told you about this. And so we had so we didn't even know what address to put on the call sheet for day 1. So we're saying, but immediately my girlfriend gets on. She's like, finds an Airbnb, and she's like, here, that's the location. I was like, sold. Great. But every day started like that, where something that was going to stop the entire production. This is the second day we were shooting at this rest stop up at the top of Elephant Butte, beautiful location. But we sent the call sheet out late, and we sent a link, but we forgot to attach a map.
Right.
So people were
didn't know
driving.
where to go.
There was no reception.
Right.
So people couldn't use the link. So we lost 2 hours at the beginning of the day because everybody got lost on the way to the location. And so every single day had something like that, where the whole production is just barely holding together. It's not really about creatively, like, what do I want to shoot as a director? It's more like, what do we have time for?
We got to get
Just get
everybody there.
yelling at people. Like, okay, run in. Okay, kill him. Okay, kill him. Die.
Kill him fast.
Okay, now run. Get out of the shot. Get out of the shot. Okay, good. Cut. Get the fuck out of here.
So were you behind the camera too?
Yeah, I was doing both. I was directing and acting, but I wasn't in. I'm in about like I feel like maybe 60% of the movie is me, maybe 40% is the killer and the other characters and stuff like that. That was actually the easiest part, because as a creator, I don't know if you've gotten into a rhythm like this, but like you do sort of. I feel like you get a good sense of what's working for you as a performer,
For sure.
with a director's eye,
Yep.
and what isn't, because you just practice it.
Yep.
You shoot it and watch it and
It's
shoot
the
it and watch it.
repetitions.
Yeah.
And you kind of figure out like how you're saying things in certain ways too.
cadences.
The cadence of how you deliver it.
Yep.
And what I'm learning too is like, because I shoot and edit all my shit too. So like there's times like if I want to shoot like a video all the way through and it's just straight form, or if I'm chopping it up, I'll say what I need to say, find the spot where I stop, and then continue back up. So that way when I'm chopping it together in the edit, it's flawless.
You're
versus
thinking
me
of the edit as
I'm shooting it.
Yep.
So you get those repetitions.
Yep.
I could totally see that, especially being a director, directing it, but coming from making the content.
Yep.
If you're acting, you're like, okay, I know exactly how I'm going to.
Yeah, being out there, you goof a line, and then you're like, okay, pause, give a pause for the edit. And then you go into your
Yep.
thing again, and you're like, okay, that's where I'm going to cut because I fucked that up, and like, but I don't have time to start from the beginning again, and you just learn that. You learn that process.
Because if you don't do that, like there's been times when I, like in the beginning, when I was having to edit it myself again, like I said, fuck what I'm doing. I'm doing it. I would just be like talking, and I'd be going through it, and I'd go into edit it, and I'd find those spots where I was trying to cut out the breaths, and like I'm looking here, there. So I'm like it looks fucking insane.
Right.
One eye's over here, one eye's over here. So if you do it smooth and you know where the cuts are for the edit,
Yep.
when you go back to edit it,
Yeah,
seamless.
and that is something that like you don't have to go to film school to learn. You could just you do it from experience. You you edit something and you go, man, I made that really hard on myself. Next time I'm going to do this, this, and this to make sure that it's easier. And if you do enough reps of it, then you get faster at it and better at it, and the content gets better.
Yeah, I agree. So it's funny because when we were going to sit down with you, I hit Lenwords. I was like, all right, bro. So because usually we have like bullet points. We talk about current events. Our podcast talks about whatever the fuck. There's nothing's really off limits.
Yeah.
So I hit Lenwords. I was like, all right, Lenwords, what's some of the bullet points? What's some questions we got to ask Matt?
Okay.
And these are fucking funny, bro.
All right,
like
what do you got?
he told me you think you could ask these with a straight face? I'm like, of course, bro.
Uh-oh.
So we kind of touched on this a little bit, but it's just a funny way that he worded it. He put, how did you go from Karate Man to Karate Movie Man?
Oh, I like that.
I like the way it was worded.
I like that. So actually, one of the decision to incorporate martial arts into Cop versus Killer was kind of a last minute one.
Was it? Okay.
It wasn't. Not a lot of it was in. It wasn't in one of the because I left a lot of out here. But like another guy that was going to be in our movie was Michael J. White.
Oh, really?
Michael J. White was going to play the lead.
Oh, no way.
And so we had a couple phone calls about it. And he seemed really into it, and I was like, "Oh, that would be awesome."
Why does that name sound familiar?
Spawn. He played
Oh,
Spawn.
okay.
That's one of the things people
He's
know.
the guy who punched Kimbo Slice with the slow punch.
Yeah.
In the
Yep,
clip.
that viral video where he's
Yeah.
teaching Kimbo how to
Yep.
punch. Dark Knight, he's and he's a fantastic martial artist. I'm a fan of his, but yet again, like we've got no money, we've got no time. Conversations kind of fall apart. So I had written a little bit of martial arts in because of him, and then more specifically, it became Kempo, the martial art that I studied. That had kind of given me some of the inspiration for Master Ken, honestly, but without the satire, where I thought, okay, I haven't seen Kempo as a martial art in the movies very much. Really, it's known because of one movie called The Perfect Weapon with Jeff Speakman, which came out in the 90s. And so I thought, okay, that's kind of an unknown martial art. It'd be kind of unique to have it. And it was really something that I just another thing that we changed and sort of just left in because Michael J. White was going to do it. Then he wasn't going to do it. And I was like, well, it's already in the script. I'll just keep doing it. Yeah. So everybody who even who brushed up against the project made it better, even in the conversations that we had. So that was a good thing. Is everybody who contributed to it gave us more ideas about what to do. So that was something that kind of and it was fun because it was a B movie. We could play it kind of sincerely.
Right.
It could be like, this guy's a karate master. Because like now you have to do it, unless you're doing it as kind of a B movie, you have to be like, wink at the camera and make a joke out of it. But like we were like, no, this is like an 80s movie where like, this guy's a cop.
You can embrace
and
it.
also a karate master.
man.
Yeah. The kind of Patrick Swayze, Roadhouse kind of thing where like he's so dangerous,
Just wait.
So that was fun to play around with.
That was a really good movie, though, man.
Yeah.
Really good movie.
Thank you.
The fight
Thank
in
you.
the diner was awesome.
Oh man, and I wanted,
How
and
long did it take you to do that?
So that was another day. That was day 8.
Oh, wow.
Day 8 of 10. We had that location for one day. So all of the diner things that you see in the movie, we had a day interior, a day exterior, a night interior, and a night exterior.
Damn.
We had dialogue, we had the fights, we had background extras, we had cop cars. It was every single thing. We lost a key member of our crew who had a crisis and had to leave the movie. We lost them the morning of. In fact, when we woke up that day, I went to my girlfriend. I was like, she was producing the movie, and I said, "Hey, babe, can you call the owner of the diner to make sure she knows we're going to be there at 7:00?" And then she was like, "I never locked that location. You locked that location." And I was thinking about it. I was like, "Oh shit, she's right." I just went in, talked to the owner, and she was like, "Yeah, cool, you can shoot here." And I was like, "Great." And then I moved on with my life, and we didn't have her phone number.
Oh my
and so we were calling around, and luckily, because Truth or Consequences is a small town, thankfully, it turned out that a PA who worked on the movie knew the plumber of the woman who owned the restaurant. So she called the plumber called the owner.
Bang.
And the owner was like, oh yeah, no, I remember you guys are shooting, you're fine. I'll meet you there. And that was the beginning of it. But by the time, because we had so many disastrous things happen that day that had slowed us down, by the time we got to the fight, we had 90 minutes.
Oh my gosh.
Damn.
And it was like, and the fight was supposed to be much longer.
Right.
And it was like, we don't have this location tomorrow. So like, so all, and the crew was, and a couple people were like, you're going to have to cut the fight. And I said, we can't cut the fight, man. Like, this is the big showdown between the characters. And so I just went to the camera crew who were so tired. And Seth Fuller was the DP, and he did a great job, but his team was hurting because they didn't have enough help. And I went to him and I was like, okay, here's the plan. You're going to start shooting. We're going to do the whole fight, and then you're going to keep rolling, and you're going to move just a little bit over, and then we're going to do the whole fight, and then you're going to move just a little bit over. I said, just keep shooting. We're just going to run the fight like 7 times without stopping, and you're just going to get it. And that was how we did it. We just ran it as fast as we could. And I was like, I'll figure it out. We'll figure it out. We just need to cover it from as many angles as we can in this short period of time. And that ended up being the
They did
fight.
a really good job.
It was amazing. And because Seth and his team were like, like a crack team. And that was another place where I was really glad that Kevin was a trained martial artist and somebody that I had worked out with and trained with as a martial artist for years, because he was somebody that like he understood how we were going to do this, and we were wailing on each other too, because we were tired and it was late and we had no time. So like, there's
I might hit you.
Yeah, we're gonna hit each other. There's and he's a big dude too. He landed a couple where I was like, oh.
Wait till they move the camera. I'm fucking getting you back for that one.
We tagged each other a couple of times where it was like, all right, you want to make this look real? Let's make this look real.
That's probably what made it fucking dope.
It was it was really fun, but it was another thing where like as a creative, you have like the idea of what you think this is going to be, and then you have what you have time for, and it's like, okay, well, whatever fight scene we shoot in the next 90 minutes is the fight scene that will live on forever in this movie. So we pulled it off, though. I think we did okay.
Sometimes it ends up being better than you thought, though.
Mm-hmm.
It's not what you thought, but the end result is like, this is probably better than what the fuck I was shooting for anyways.
Yeah, it is. And there are scenes in the movie. There's a I don't know if I can make this make sense, but there's a scene in a movie that involves like a drawing, like a children's drawing, and it's introduced early in the movie. And that was supposed to be a major plot point. And I was going to bring that back at the end in a way that was going to tie into the story. And a couple people read that part. And even before we were shooting, they were like, you should cut that. And I was like, I love that part of the movie. I'm not cutting it. And I'm the director, and I'm going to do what I want. And they were like, okay, well, it's cheesy and unnecessary. And I was like, well, I'm going to keep it. And we shot it, and it didn't work in the cut. And I was like, well, I'm going to reshoot it. Because
I fucking want
this is what I want, and I'm the director. I'm gonna do whatever. I'm gonna do what I want. I was like, I hang on to it, and I reshot it, and we cut it in, and the editor was like, it still doesn't work, and I was like, fuck. I was so sure that I was right about that, and I held on to it to the bitter end, and still ended up having to cut it. And so there are some things that we throw together in no time at all that end up really working, and other things that I hang on, I strangle with my creative will, where I'm just like, this is gonna work, and then it's dead and a complete waste of time and effort and everything, and I'm like, God damn it! How did I not know?
It's true. It's like what do they call it when you're in the zone, right?
Yeah.
Basketball, whatever it is. When you're in that zone creatively, it just flows, bro. When you're not, and you're just kind of like trying so fucking hard. Like I've done this before. I know I can make it work. I see what I want. You try so hard, and you go back and you listen to it, or you watch it, or you look at it, and you're like, damn, that just kind of sucks.
Yeah.
I don't know what I was.
I think
trying
as a
too
creative,
hard.
you have to be open to other people's, insight though, because they had people
people warned me.
Set.
Yeah.
You know what
and
I mean?
And being open to the idea of like, you can go down a path. I'm thinking about one channel that is like a legacy channel that I really like, because a friend of mine works for it, is the GQ YouTube channel, where they do the the actors and filmmakers review their most iconic work and stuff like that. They just did a friend of mine, Kristen Rakes, directs a lot of those episodes, and she just did one with Trent Reznor, who does a lot of movie scores. And he was talking about with his his collaborative partner Atticus about doing music for Pixar, and saying that when they were going to do, I think it was Soul. I think they did Soul,
Okay.
and that what they spent 2 months trying to make music that sounded like a Pixar movie, and got 2 months in and were like, this sucks. This all sucks. All of this is terrible. And they kind of said that to other people, thinking people would talk them out of it, and they were like,
Does suck. You guys are right.
yeah. And so they threw it out. 2 straight months of work. And then, but because they were able to recognize that the work sucked, once they threw it out, they said everything started to work. They said, we're going to do what we do, what we know how to do, what we're good at. And it immediately began to work. But they had to go 2 months down the wrong path and make all this stuff that was terrible. Even at that, and that was what I found the most inspiring about that episode, was like, even at that level. Because these guys have proven themselves over and over and over again creatively, and yet you can still be on the wrong path and still have to recognize, like, I can still make mistakes. Even down this level, I'm actually really wrong about this, and I have to start over.
And every project's different too.
Yeah.
Like sound wise, for sure.
I'm glad they did, because Soul is great.
Isn't that the
It's
one
an
they brought in
incredible-
John Batiste, the piano
Yeah.
player?
Yeah.
He was a big part of that, wasn't
That movie kind of took, and that's another one that dropped during COVID. It didn't have a theater.
Oh yeah,
it didn't
that's
have a
right. That
theatrical
goes straight
release.
to Disney
Straight
Disney
to
Plus.
Disney
Yeah,
Plus.
yeah, so
I
good,
was like,
such a good movie.
Damn,
Yeah.
this is that shit. And again, it was during a time when everybody was like, I don't know, man, we might not make it tomorrow.
Yeah.
Like it was perfect timing
For that theme,
Yes.
have a movie about death in that way, like
and just like the way that it's interesting because Pixar has always done that. Like they handle these like really heavy themes in a way that's easy to digest.
yeah, absolutely.
For adults and for children.
yeah, it's a great brand that way.
I agree. So we got, and this was my favorite question. I was like, Len Words is fucking tripping. It's 10:30. I think he's fucking losing his fucking marbles. This one's pretty good though.
Okay.
Would you rather fight a snake in a swamp, a monkey in a tree, or a bear in a dark cave?
Well, immediately the bear's out.
You're done.
Anyone who's ever seen Grizzly Man, you ever seen Grizzly Man?
No, but I
Okay.
just seen Cocaine Bear.
That's even more terrifying.
Yeah.
Werner Herzog has a documentary about this guy Grizzly Man who went and befriended the bears in some national forest and eventually was eaten.
Oh no.
So the
Shocker.
death by bear seems like maybe the worst. Because like, how bad is a snake? Is it like an anaconda? Am I going to get squeezed
Yeah, how
to death,
big-
or do
how
I
big is
die
the
of
snake,
poison?
Leonard?
How big is the snake?
Yeah.
Or how
What
poisonous?
kind of snake?
Like, is it a black
It's
mamba?
certainly it's certainly poisonous.
Okay.
But it's like I'd say it's the type of snake that if it gets around your legs,
Man, so it's a
any
double
point.
whammy. So it's like it's
Poisonous
going to
and
squeeze me to
anaconda.
death as I'm dying of poison.
and remember you're in a swamp, so you're
You can't
muddy.
run,
So
Yeah,
I'm already
you're really
uncomfortable. I'm
running.
uncomfortable on top of it.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
And
you
then what was the other one?
Monkey in a tree. He's gonna have to catch these hands.
Yeah. He's coming down with me, bro.
Maybe
I'm
we
following.
maybe we like the monkey. Now I noticed you didn't say gorilla.
Oh no, because
Gorillas, there's
done.
no. Yeah, exactly.
Sorry.
Monkey. I feel I like my chances with a monkey.
Yeah,
In a tree?
I've never studied karate, and I like my chances with a
Yeah.
monkey.
I'm gonna take the monkey. I'm gonna take the monkey because like the snake, we're not even anywhere near the same species. Like I can't think about. I feel like I could think about how a monkey's gonna move.
Yeah,
You know.
predictive text.
Exactly.
Kind of.
Yeah. Exactly.
I know where you're going,
We're connected
motherfucker.
in a way.
Is it
Evolutionary.
just
That's
one monkey?
Yeah.
Or like the
Yeah,
okay.
it's a
Yeah.
badass monkey though.
Oh, not like multiple. Not like the scene in Jungle Book
I was
when
about
they
to
take Mowgli away
fucking through the trees.
through the trees. I can see
Yeah.
Matt just flying, bro. Baloo's like, where the fuck Matt go?
No, I'll take the monkey. I'll take the monkey in the tree.
I'm gonna have to agree. I
Yeah.
think.
Yeah.
I don't think Lenwords agrees here.
Listen,
Okay. What is yours?
I didn't really have an answer for that.
Oh, you just
come on, you
threw it.
can-
Oh.
No, I literally, my response when I thought about it, I was like, what would I say? And I was like, I'm just going to get fucked up
I'm not gonna.
in all these scenarios. Like, I lost.
I'll never put myself in that position anyway, so it doesn't apply to me.
You know what's gonna be wild as fuck though? In a month, Jay's like, bro, I just had to throw hands with a fucking monkey.
Yeah.
Bro, I was
Hiking,
climbing
there was
a
a
tree.
bear in a cave.
It was. I seen a snake. There's not even swamps down here. I don't know what the fuck's going on. Landwords put that bad juju.
Snakes are fucked up, bro.
I don't, yeah.
Yeah, no.
When you're running and that motherfucker's slithering sideways, almost like keeping up with
Yeah.
you.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
it's
That
just
ain't
like
fair.
dancing.
That's what, and you
That
can't
ain't
relate to
fair.
it because if you demanded that I tell you about snake anatomy right now, I don't know where its
Have you
heart
seen those
is. I don't
snakes
know
that
like
throw themselves at you?
Yeah,
No.
the flying ones.
Those
yeah,
dude,
yeah, yeah.
They'll fucking throw themselves like 4 feet at you.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they
see?
like, they like
Savage
coil
life.
while they're doing this
Crazy,
and
bro.
compress, and then they like spring forward.
It's
yeah,
fucking-
monkeys don't do that.
No, they don't.
Monkeys will swing and
Hey, we
Yeah.
might be able to like talk about this amicably too.
Yeah.
I might be in that tree like, listen, bro, why we even beefing?
Right, yeah, there might be some behavioral, there might be a connection you can make with
Yeah,
a
like-
monkey where you just
Just
like,
turn into Jane Goodall all
Yeah.
of a sudden.
Like, why we got an issue here, my dude?
Yeah.
Like, what's crack? What's your issue here?
Yeah,
We're
I
not
do
so
feel-
different, me.
we can't share this fucking tree,
You
man. Like,
you
there's
can
enough
talk a
room.
monkey down. You can talk. I feel like you could talk a monkey down if it's compared to like a snake or a bear. I feel like of the three, I like the chances with a monkey.
I just watched Cocaine Bear.
I haven't
Fucking
seen that
that
shit.
movie.
Yeah. You wouldn't fight
You know
a
what's
bear.
crazy about that movie is it really tripped me out. For one, it was Ray Liotta's last movie. Not the greatest way to
go
leave
out?
to
Yeah.
leave it, right? But that movie made so much fucking money.
Oh, yeah.
I
Did it
remember
really?
I remember watching the advertisement. They're like, you gotta watch it, movie of the year. I'm like, I'm gonna get to it because I know it's gonna be funny, but I waited a long time, right? And this weekend was Cocaine Bear time. Man, it's a horrendous piece of shit, but it's funny, right? It's got moments,
Right.
right?
It's not a good movie.
No,
but like it's certainly
abs-
something you should experience.
At least once.
Yeah.
Because, bro,
Crack of movies.
this fucking bear is just killing everybody trying to get more coke, bro. And then he's got little coked out cubs. Right? It's a female. I say
Yeah.
he, but yeah, got little coked out cubs that are trying to fucking
Where's
find
the
more
dad?
coke
The dad's
too.
not around?
Nah, bro. You know what I'm saying? Dad's not around.
Crack bear.
Yeah, crack bear. But it's funny because it's one of those
Poverty
things.
bear.
You see poverty bear. You see the based on a true story, right? Things like that, right? And it says based on a true story. The only thing that was fucking true is they found a bear overdosed on fucking cocaine. He didn't go on a fucking murder spree.
Right.
But it was interesting because, like I said, Ray Liotta, and it was his last movie, and I'm like, man, fuck, he probably could have picked up. I mean, we don't know
know,
when
it's-
we're
that's-
going out,
that's-
right?
yeah.
We don't
no,
really
that's-
know.
yeah.
Although he did look kind of sick in the movie. He didn't look very very healthy.
Yeah, he was getting old. That's a bummer when people like. It makes me think of John Candy's last movie, Wagons East.
Oh yeah, that wasn't very good either.
Such a bad movie. And then everyone went out to see it because we all love Uncle Buck, and
Uncle Buck, yeah.
yeah, like we're a big fan of his. But they were all sitting in the theater being like, man, he made a lot of other good movies, didn't he? Like,
You guys put another movie on?
yeah, right. Can we just rewatch Uncle
Yeah,
Buck?
it's funny you said that talking about like movie budgets and going to John Candy because I was watching that Netflix doc movies that we love or movies that made us.
Yeah, movies that made us. Yeah,
They're
yeah.
talking about Home Alone,
Yeah.
and they didn't even really pay him to be in the movie. Like he was
Yeah.
just like on set. He shot all of his scenes in like
Oh, really?
3 hours or
Yeah.
something like
Yeah.
that. And it's funny because he became like an integral part of the story.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
Like he gave the mom hope like,
Yep.
when she was completely out of it.
Yeah, and they had him for like a day or something.
And that was
like
it. And-
it was
and
like
he was
just
saying-
like squeeze him in.
They
like,
didn't pay him. He
Yeah.
showed up, shot it, and that was it.
Yeah.
It was funny because you go back and you look at that era of movie, John Hughes, right? It's like it's fucking crazy, man.
Yeah.
So many movies
Yeah.
you don't even realize.
Yeah.
Like I didn't really think about Uncle Buck, Home Alone. Home Alone was like massive success, and like when you watch like the behind the scenes of it, and like how they had to shoot inside this like gymnasium for like a school, and they built the house and stuff. Like it's a trip that you have these movies that were so big in our childhood, and like now we get to see like the behind the scenes of them, and it like changes your perspective on how they were made and how you feel about the movie.
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah, yeah. I liked that episode of the movies that made us about Dirty Dancing.
Oh, yeah.
Because I remember that was like such a scandalous thing. Because I was like a kid when that came out. I didn't really understand it. But
No
that-
one puts baby in the corner.
but that movie was like basically a straight to video company had accidentally like had the rights to it and was going to spit it out as like a throwaway kind of. It was a complete accidental hit. It was just supposed to be they were just going to churn this out as one of a bunch of like low budget shitty kind of movies they were going to make, and they accidentally made something that like became this iconic kind of like this,
People
this
love
kind
that
of
movie
thing.
still.
Yeah.
I
yeah.
get hate every time I talk about how much I do not fucking like that movie. No, man, I'm not with the shits, bro. Hey, if someone tells me to pick a Patrick Swayze movie, my dude, I'm throwing Point Break on way before Dirty Dancing.
There you go. Yeah. Point
Come
Break.
on, man. That and it's funny because my girl makes fun of me because I didn't realize that like I'm kind of like a big Keanu Reeves fan. Like I didn't realize like later on in life until like I was like on the second John Wick, I'm like, man, I really fuck with this dude. Like all of this dude's, he's not even like a great actor, bro. No one's gonna give Keanu Reeves a fucking Academy Award for Best Actor.
Well, he doesn't. Some of his stuff doesn't. He doesn't have very many lines.
He doesn't have to
at all.
It's fucking Keanu Reeves, Jay.
Kill my dog.
Yeah.
Bro, he probably has minimal lines in the first John Wick for sure. Yeah. But she always makes fun of me because Point Break, I still go back. That movie's the shit still, bro. Come on.
It's one of the best action movies.
Of Wesley Snipes. No, of Patrick Swayze.
Okay.
Yeah, it might be.
You're looking like you're not super familiar with Point Break. Are you like not a fan of Point Break?
I didn't care for it, but I like Ghost.
Oh, okay. I forgot about Ghost.
Between Point Break and Ghost?
I go Point Break.
I go Ghost.
Okay.
I go Point Break.
For the pottery scene.
Yeah.
Do you just kind of sort of sit at home with Unchained Melody playing and just kind of think about that moment?
Don't judge my.
Don't
That's
judge
fine if you do.
We're not going to turn this.
Ghost
into
Ghost is a great movie. I recently rewatched Ghost. Ghost is a great movie.
It is.
Also, way better than fucking Dirty Dancing, man.
I have to say, I'm not a huge Dirty Dancing fan.
I didn't buy
the movie.
Patrick Swayze's character.
Yeah.
I'm not scared of you, my dude.
Yeah.
Get out of here, baby, in the corner. You're not a fucking hood, dog. Sorry, bruh. I ain't buying
Her
it.
dad should have whooped his ass.
No shit.
Several times. Yes. Several times.
Now, Roadhouse,
Yeah.
again, better than Dirty Dancing.
Yeah.
Dog. I catch
Roadhouse.
flag. Anytime I talk shit about Dirty Dancing, because it's got a fan base,
That's
bro.
the one
It
where
does.
he's kind of like the
mainly
bodyguard
women.
or security
Yeah.
guard.
Yeah.
It's got a big women fan base.
Right.
That scene where he picks her up, like that's like it's like the Cinderella story, you know.
Yeah,
all of
absolutely.
those stories that they were sold as little girls. They wanted to find their Patrick Swayze that doesn't let anybody put him in the fucking corner.
Right.
That was their myth. So if you tarnish it a little bit, you're gonna catch some flack, dog. Even though when you point
He
out
snuck that in there. He's like, that's their myth. He's like, that's a myth, ladies. It's like, just so you know, that's a myth,
Little jab.
ladies.
Tiny jab. You know, and then fast forward to like later on in his career when he's the fucking weirdo in Donnie Darko.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. That was great.
He's the sicko teacher.
Yep.
Donnie Darko is another slept-on, underrated movie that I feel a lot of people haven't seen, bro.
I didn't like it.
See,
I didn't
Really?
I couldn't say no. That one and what's the other one with Marlon Wayans and that weird lady who was like watching the game shows all the time?
Oh, Requiem.
Requiem?
Okay, so here's the thing about Requiem. Requiem is in one of those categories where I genuinely feel it's a real piece of art. Like
Yes.
it's a brilliantly made film, and I've seen it twice. And
hard to watch.
The second time was like, oh yeah, I felt so bad about life.
It makes you feel gross.
I felt so awful. Yeah. I was like, I'm going to recognize that as a piece of art, and I'm never going to watch it ever again.
Right.
Yup.
You know,
Right.
it's
That's
the craft of filmmaking and storytelling in it is incredible.
When the mom gets strung out on those fucking diet pills.
It makes me feel so hopeless. I'm like, this isn't why I watch movies. Actually,
Bleak.
yeah,
I'm
it's
not
so.
into it anymore.
Yeah. So I'm with you on that. Like, it's a good film, but I'll never watch it again.
And see, I think a lot of people with Donnie Darko, like, I could see why you put those two movies together. Requiem's definitely darker than Donnie Darko.
Right.
Yeah,
Holy
for sure.
shit.
For
Whenever
sure.
he has to cut off his arm because, that movie goes.
Now I'm having
to
flashbacks of like,
man.
like
I
how
think
much
I've
that
only
movie
watched that
affected
movie
me.
twice too.
What,
Yeah.
Donnie Darko?
No,
Requiem.
Requiem. I had to go back and rewatch Donnie Darko a couple times to fully appreciate it.
Yeah.
Because the first time I was like, holy shit, what the fuck's going on here?
The last time I watched Donnie Darko was like for 5 minutes because I was like, oh, I like that movie. I'll watch it again. I was thinking of Donnie Brasco.
Oh, yeah.
So I turned it
movie.
on. I was like, what the fuck?
He's
is
like
going
7
on?
minutes of Donnie Darko, and no one said, forget about it. He's like, what did they say? Forget about it.
Where's Al? Where's Al? Where's Al? Hey, we're talking about Al Pacino. Me and my brother were having this conversation the other day about his best work, Al Pacino's.
Yeah.
And man, I still go back to I'm in the Dock.
Oh, yeah.
Come on,
Scent of a
dog.
Woman.
Scent of a Woman.
Great movie.
Fuck, that's like him. Everything that's dope about Al Pacino is perfectly showcased in that movie.
I think that was when he like most started to just kind of have those pocket things where he would just throw them out because he knew. So like, this is kind of what people want to hear me say.
Yeah, he kind of leaned
and all
into,
that
yeah.
shit.
But his build-up scene, though, when he goes in there, bro, I'll
Yeah.
take a flame. That shit is almost more iconic than the final scene of Scarface.
Yeah.
Acting wise, it's better. I mean, he really.
I thought you were going to throw us a curveball and be like, Devil's Advocate.
Hey, look,
Devil's
Advocate.
That's
ain't-
a Keanu Reeves. No, that's a very that's a
Don't
Keanu
get too
movie.
tough on that
It's
one.
very very entertaining. But I thought you were going to be like, you know what his best performance is? What the fuck are you
He's
talking
fucking
about?
crazy. This pod's done. I'm out this motherfucker. The final scene in Devil's Advocate is up there, but
Where he does his thing, where he does his Al Pacino thing,
Yeah.
where he screams and asks questions.
yeah.
Yeah.
He's an
I like how you
absentee lamb.
distill
Yeah,
that
yeah,
art.
that's it. His what's the other Michael Mann one? The cigarette movie. Russell Crowe was in it.
The Insider. No.
The Insider.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah,
Okay.
The Insider.
Oh yeah. Damn, I forgot about that.
Yeah,
movie.
that's a great movie. But Pacino mostly is doing does this man have something to say? Yes. Is it newsworthy? Yes. Are we going to air it? Of course not. Why? That's all. He just he screams, asks himself questions, answers them, asks more questions, and he does it through the whole fucking movie. And I was like, oh, this is his bit.
Yeah,
this is
this
what
is the
he.
move.
Where
It's
like
his
you're
shtick.
saying,
That's
he's
funny.
like. He reads the script and he's like, I don't want to say any of that. But what I am going to do is I'm going to scream and ask a lot of questions. You know?
I'm gonna give you what they want.
Exactly. He's
That
like,
is
he's like, this is
exactly
what you're
he
paying
does.
for.
In
Yeah.
Scarface
And-
too, in the restaurant, that's what he does.
Yeah.
You know, he's all stumbling all over the place.
Yeah,
he's
you
yelling.
start to pick
It's
up.
like his secret
My
karate
favorite.
method.
Bro.
move.
Secret face.
That's
Scary face.
Yeah.
That's my favorite scene in Scarface, and that's an underrated
Which
scene.
one?
When he's in the restaurant.
Oh yeah,
And he's stumbling out. That's some of his best acting for sure, especially even up to that point. But the way he's stumbling out, buttoning up his jacket, like that shit's flawless, bro.
I like it. I think when he kills Frank is probably my favorite part. When he comes in all late. 'Cause
Oh,
he,
yeah.
He had the hitters like try to knock him down.
Arm in his-
and then
in
he
his
shows
sling.
it and just
He's got the
like,
guy
Frank,
that's going to make the phone call so that he can see the reaction of when he answers the phone
he's
call
like,
to confirm it.
Yeah, he's like, I want you to answer.
He tells
Like,
him.
answer the. Go ahead, answer it, Frank.
Tells him.
Yeah.
I ain't
I love
gonna
that
kill you,
scene.
Frank. Manolo, shoot this piece of shit.
You're gonna kill a cop.
Gangster.
You're gonna shoot a cop.
And even when he's
Kill a
shot in the
cop.
belly, he's like, all right,
like, all right,
I'll
we'll work
pass
this
this
out.
up. We'll
Yeah.
forget about it. It's
all
fine.
good.
Because he still thinks he's going to survive. Oh, I love that.
I'll patch this up.
Yeah, it's
Hey,
all right.
Now him and Robbie are out here having kids at 70.
Yeah.
Right.
Crazy. Whew. Better enjoy them because I love both of them, but you ain't gonna have your dad around for very much longer, man.
Yeah, he ain't gonna make graduation.
And if he, bro, you never know though. Motherfuckers out here living. If anybody could, they probably could, bro. Imagine him at his son's graduation giving the speech.
Yeah.
I'm in the dark. Cataracts. Man, well, on that note, I think it's time to get the fuck up out of here, fellas. What do you guys
Yeah.
think?
Dude.
For sure.
I have one more question for Matt. We usually do like top 5 MCs. Give us top 5 action stars.
Ooh.
Top 5 action stars. That's good. I like that. Let's see. In no particular order.
Now you got to rank them.
Yeah.
Oh, shit. Okay. All right. Number 5 is Steven Seagal.
Okay.
Steven Seagal for his early, like Above the Law, Out for Justice, Hard to Kill.
Yeah.
By the time he hit On Deadly Ground,
Yeah.
it was already over. Like once he had the success of Under Siege, everything fell apart. So
You didn't like the sequel? It wasn't.
I
amazing?
love Under Siege too. It's a piece of shit.
really
I
is.
love it. I love it. It's the dumbest fucking movie I've ever seen.
I watch it every time it's on.
It's amazing. I find it so entertaining, but it's a piece of shit. But I will watch it every time too. Jean-Claude Van Damme. He should be higher on my list because like I consider Bloodsport to be the best martial arts movie ever made. Now action star is not martial arts action star.
I'll let you interpret it the way you wish.
I'll stick with martial arts because if you throw Schwarzenegger and Bruce Willis into it and everything,
It's
then
a
it just
different
it's a whole nother.
Okay, we'll
it's
stick
a
with
whole
martial
nother.
arts then.
Yeah. I'll say
'Cause
Steven Seagal.
You can tell when it's
Oh, yeah.
when it's real or when it's
Yeah, for sure. I'm gonna say Steven Seagal. Number 4, I'm gonna say Thomas Ian Griffith. Vampires.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh,
But he
okay.
also made a movie called Excessive Force
Haven't
that was
seen
like
that one. Okay.
Excessive Force, a pretty good martial arts action movie. They were trying to make everybody was trying to be the next Van Damme and Seagal at that time.
Right.
And he had some awesome moves, he had some awesome kicks, just didn't take off for him.
Yeah.
You know, just didn't take off for him. He was the bad guy in Karate Kid 3.
Yeah. Okay.
You know, so
And came back to Cobra Kai now.
yeah, exactly. So
Still a bad guy, too.
Yes. So we'll say Steven Seagal, Thomas Ian Griffith. I don't know where to put Van Damme. Jackie Chan probably has to be
Yeah.
the
He gotta
top.
be
I was curious.
I think Jackie Chan probably has to be the number one. I'll give Van Damme the second slot because he's my favorite martial arts performer, and it's like he has like 6 moves that he does, the same moves every single time.
The splits.
He still can't speak English after all these years. I commend him for getting so
I think
far.
he did that shit on purpose, man, because he could. He probably could.
He
He's
just never
like,
figured
no,
out how to-
I just keep the accent. Whatever, dude.
Yeah, I don't know. And then if I had to mention one more,
Come on, give me one.
Jet Li.
Jet Li.
Jet Li. Jet Li probably in his body of work belongs ahead of Jean-Claude Van Damme, but Jean-Claude Van Damme's my favorite.
Yeah.
He's just. Hopefully, I get him in a video one day.
Yeah.
You know,
Damn, that'd be-
someday.
That would be dope.
That would be
that'd be
dope,
awesome.
bro. And it's interesting, bro, because like Jean-Claude Van Damme, that's a different era of like action star.
Yeah.
Like I explained to my boys, like when we're talking about like action stars and stuff like that, I bring up Arnold Schwarzenegger and Sylvester Stallone and all these dudes.
Yep.
It was just a different time.
Yeah.
You don't have action stars like that anymore. Even with the Expendables coming out, like they tried to like bring in these new, like Jason Statham. It's his career path was interesting to me because he's on those Guy Ritchie movies and he's there with his homie, and then all of a sudden I'm like, what the fuck is the dude in fucking Lock, Stock, and Two Smoking Barrels doing? Fucking kicking the shit out of people.
Yeah, now he's the transporter.
Yeah,
like, all of a
yeah.
sudden. Yeah.
How the fuck did he make the transition from the? Hey, what's the fucking movie with Brad Pitt and Guy Ritchie?
Snatch.
Snatch.
That's like my favorite
Yeah.
Guy Ritchie movie.
Right?
It's funny because I've watched it so many times now that I completely understand Brad Pitt's
His accent.
dialogue. I swear to God, like I sit there, and I know exactly what he's saying, bro. What is he? You like Dags? Dags? Yeah, Dags. You like Dags? Bro, I swear, I've seen it so many times. I'm like, motherfucker, do you like dogs? Come on, I ask you a question. Matt, my dude, thank you for pulling up. This
Thanks
was
for having me on the
fucking
show.
awesome.
Make sure you guys check out Cop vs. Killer, Amazon, Tubi if you get a chance. Let us know. Leave a review if you like. Even if you don't like the movie. There's some people who shit on the movie. Shit on the movie if you want it. But if you like it, make sure to comment on it.
Yeah, all of it boosts the algorithm anyway.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So let's go ahead and start a fucking argument.
Exactly.
Until next time, respect the connect. Peace.
It's Pick of the Neck.